Perfect. So without further ado, we're going to start. And this event or this webinar today is to talk about a very important concept that you might not have heard of maybe before, but that is actually the main reason why we're here today. And this system, or this pardon, I was cut a little bit, but I'm back now. So this concept is essentially what is called economic communitarianism. That is what we're going to talk about today. And the theme of this webinar for today is the real circular economy. I'm sure you should have heard about something like a circular economy before, and you might know the details or the definition of what it's all about. But the reason why I called it the real circular economy is because there's a lot of elements, okay, in it that makes it a better kind of circular economy. So I'm just going to go we'll just be entering right into it so that we understand what we are to talk about today. And at the end of this video that you're watching, a very what I call a golden investment opportunity will be offered to you. So just give me some time to share my screen with you, because I prepared a little slide deck that will help us to move through what we have today. So once more, I welcome you to the webinar entitled The Real Circular Economy, and which is once more an event under Critical 2, on which you're watching probably the video by now. So I start by telling you that at the end of this webinar, at the end of this video that you're watching right now, a golden investment opportunity will be offered to you for you to seize. Okay, and when I'm saying golden, I really mean it's golden, and probably it's a once in a lifetime opportunity that's given to you, no matter your status. Okay, no matter if you're a businessman or you're a worker or you're even a student. So let's jump right into it. So today, what we're going to have a little bit as a kind of content, we're going to have a little introduction. We're going to dive in anatomy. We're going to look at a little bit at interesting parts of our bodies, and you will understand why. We are going to enter into the main thing, okay, the body of it, and what is economic communitarianism. And at the end, the opportunity will be offered to you. So as intro, I want to start with a little quote that everything in existence is a result of a question. And I put down someone famous. I put that me. I just want to have a little bit of fun and to relax a little bit of atmosphere. But I believe this sentence is really true, because whatever we can notice, okay, whatever we can see today comes from the fact that somebody asked a question, okay, one day, and asked, why is something like this? Why is this like this? Why is this like this? And it comes to be. That is the reason why I want to start today by asking a little question, okay? I want to ask a little question. As you're watching this video, you might watch it later, okay? So I just want to ask you a little question. On this day when you're watching, I would like to ask you, what did you eat this morning? Okay, what did you eat this morning? What did you wear? Okay, what are you presently wearing on you? What does it come from? Okay, if you ate, for example, if you had breakfast, maybe you had some eggs, some milk, some I don't know, you prepared yourself some pancakes, you prepared yourself, or whatever meal it is, for breakfast, for lunch, or for dinner. What was it? Okay, first of all, and where does it come from? Okay, the shoes that you're wearing, the dresses that you're wearing, where does it come from? If you're in a car, and you took some transport today to move from one place to the other, where does that transport mode come from? Okay, where does it come from? Where do you know the country comes from? How was it made? Maybe if you're interested into going such a deeper notions. Okay, so that's the first question. I want you to ask that question. I want you to ask yourself, and before we go into it, so you can just answer that question to yourself and keep that answer for you for the time being, and just follow up. Okay, keep being attentive, because and take notes if possible, because it's really going to open your eyes in on a good number of things. So what about diving? What do you mean by diving in the anatomy? Okay, so it's to understand what the circular economy is exactly. Okay, so diving in anatomy, I want us first of all to keep a tabs on very important guys, okay, who are part of our bodies. That is the heart. Okay, we have the arteries, we have the veins, and we have the blood. Okay, so it sounds like a little biology class right now, but I'll make this very simple. I'll make it very simple so that you understand exactly what we're going to. So don't worry, keep being attentive. So in our body, we have this beautiful and very interesting organ, which is the heart. Okay, so the heart has this function of pumping blood. Okay, pumping blood in the whole human system, you know. And once it pumps blood, it goes through certain streams. Okay, certain it's a kind of canals. Okay, and notably, we can see that when the heart pumps blood, the blood passes through tissues. Okay, it passes through canals, like I told you, which are the arteries. Okay, we have the veins. Okay, we have the arteries and the veins. I choose those things because I don't want to go too deeply into how the blood circulatory system works. Okay, it's just some kind of example. Okay, so that we can better understand what we'll be touching on as we're moving on. So the heart pumps blood, and the blood is very important in our body because the blood is what helps distribute oxygen. Okay, when we take in oxygen, you know, as you breathe, you know, it goes in the bloodstream. You know, and as the heart pumps the blood, okay, not through the arteries, because it's the arteries that carry oxygenated blood, okay, and it helps distribute that oxygen around your body. Also, the blood has the nutrients that we need, you know, the different nutrients that we need to keep our bodies healthy. Okay, so I just put this image so we can understand better. So in the blood, you can find, you know, the vitamins, you can find the carbohydrates, you can find the proteins, you know, all those things that we need. So it goes through the arteries, and then through depending, you know, like because of how the system, the human body is made, the deoxygenated blood passes through the veins. That's why I told you that we have to remember, we have to keep a tabs of these important guys, you know, that pick up that important system. You have the veins that carry the deoxygenated blood, you know, back to the heart, you know, and you have to understand that from the heart, the blood is being pumped down to the lower part of the body and up, you know, to your brain, you know, to make sure that your brain has enough blood, you know, for it to continue to function in the most optimal way possible. And this circuit, as the blood goes around the system, it always comes back to the heart. Okay, very important fact. The blood always comes back to the heart. First of all, because also the heart needs that blood, okay, to keep on doing its job. But also because the heart, like I told you at the beginning, is the one pumping the blood, is the one giving that impulse to the rest of the circuit. Now you might ask yourself, how does that relate to what we're talking about today? Because we're talking about the circular economy. Actually, it relates quite a lot, because the heart, okay, in the economy represents our jobs, the work that we do every single day. There are a lot of people that work like 40 hours in a week. Some people work 50. There are even others that work up to 70 hours. Okay, so we every day, talking about work, it can be a job, it can be a business, okay, it can be a part-time job that you decide to do, it can be a long-term job, it can be a full-time job. It depends. Every activity, okay, that helps you to generate some kind of revenues. That is what the heart is, okay, and that's why it's extremely important. Now, when you work, after working all those hours and everything, what you get at the end is either a salary, okay, or benefits, or dividends, depending on what you are doing in terms of activities. So basically, what you're getting back is money. Okay, you're getting a financial compensation, and that financial compensation is the blood. Yeah, it's the blood that is extremely important, and it is terrible. Okay, but we have to be frank. You are nobody in this world without money. Yeah, some people might have a kind of debate on this and that and this and that, but the truth is that without money, you're practically nothing, because we're living in a capitalist world, okay, where money is at the center. Money is even above human beings in the world where we live. Just look in our families. I we all know, at least, if not in our families, in other families, where you see parents telling maybe children, like, don't be like this member of the family. Okay, you see some members of the family that people will practically never call. They will never call them because they don't have any money. Okay, nobody wants to go to poor auntie's house or poor uncle's house, but everybody wants to go to the rich uncle, to the rich auntie. That's why some ladies, at times, when I discuss with some friends, okay, some female friends, they tell me, oh, they want to be the rich auntie, they want to be a rich auntie. They never say they want to be a poor auntie, because no, what happens if you don't have money? You don't have consideration. Even in your own family, people don't have consideration who don't have money. So if you don't have that consideration in your family, uh, it will even be worse once you move out to people who don't have any relationship whatsoever with you. It is extremely important to make sure that you use that money, or you use that blood in the maximum, okay? Because money determines everything. It determines your physical well-being, because if you have an accident and you're not able to kind of pay for the medical assistance, you will die. And a lot of people die every day, and it doesn't change anything in people's lives. Maybe the world will become even better once you die. Things will go pretty smooth, and there are thousands of people dying every day in hospitals. And it should be said that doctors are already practically used to that. But it's something that really sounds terrible. It is terrible, but that's how things work, and you have to make sure that you're sorted out as far as that is concerned. You can also die socially, like I told you, with what happens in family. You can even die psychologically. Yeah, that's what happens when you don't have money. And like we saw, like I told you just some time ago, what happens when the heart pumps blood is that the blood always comes back to the heart. That means that when you have your money, okay, and that you spend it maybe to take care of your children, to maybe pay for your rent, to maybe pay for everything, or for whatever thing you have to pay for, and that it goes through different canals, what should happen is that the money should come back to you. But unfortunately, things don't always happen the way we want them, and that's why we have injuries. That's why we have wounds. And when a wound occurs on your body, okay, maybe you had an accident, maybe you were aggressed, or maybe whatever situation happened to you, you get wounded. What happens is that blood starts moving out of the system, of the circulatory system, which is normally what makes it circular. Okay, blood moves out, and if too much blood moves out of the system, what happens is that the heart doesn't have enough blood anymore to pump. First of all, the heart doesn't have enough blood for it to survive itself, and it cannot pump enough blood to the rest of the other parts of the body, because the blood is moving out. And what happens is that once your heart stops working, you die. After that, what happens is a process called necrosis, okay, which happens. Necrosis is essentially the death, okay, of tissues, okay, of body tissues. And that's how people come about to be diplegic or tetraplegic when we're talking about the four parts. You see some people who are completely paralyzed; they can't move anymore. That is and usually happens after when things haven't been taken on time. Okay, so that's what happens, and it happens too in real life in our economies. When you lose too much money, what happens is that you die because the money isn't coming back to you. And it's happening in practically all African economies. Yeah, that's what happens in practically all African economies, because money keeps on moving out because we're only buying things that come from other places. That's why I asked you at the beginning what you ate. That's why I asked you at the beginning what you wore. Where does it come from? Okay, where does it come from? Where is your money going to? And it is because we haven't understood what kind of system probably we need to implement to make sure that this system continues to go smoothly, that we're still in the situation in which we are. Because some people might also argue that, oh, we still have some kind of exports, but exports aren't enough. In terms of exports, we're not even exporting much, and in terms of the prices have been dictated by other people. I just take an example with cocoa. The greatest producers of cocoa are in Africa. We're talking about Cote d'Ivoire, we're talking about Ghana, we're talking about Nigeria, we're talking about Cameroon. But the price of cocoa isn't determined by those countries or by the cultivators of those crops, which is actually very terrible and which cannot be tolerated. But there's always a solution to things that happen, to this kind of problems. And that's why I want us to go about. I want us to see exactly what is like the heart, the core of what we're going to talk about today. What is the solution to this wound that we are unable to close? Okay, what is the solution? How can we make sure that we keep that blood? How can we make sure that we keep that money within our community? Because what many people do not realize, that for you to get rich, it's not about getting much money. Okay, it's about how to keep a maximum of it. Okay, how do you make sure that a maximum stays within? And that's what we're going to see today. So the solution to all of this is what is called economic communitarianism. And economic communitarianism is the system that has helped the most prominent communities to grow up to today, as we're talking right now. Let's go into it. So in 2015, okay, a study was conducted in Cameroon, okay, and the study was to know which region is the most developed and which region okay, is the most underdeveloped. Okay, so I just want to point out that Cameroon is divided into regions. Okay, a little bit like America. I should say North America is like the US. Let me be precise. The US is divided into states. Okay, Cameroon is divided into in regions, and I think Nigeria too is divided into states in which you have cities. So the results of that study was that the most developed, okay, or the most prosperous region of Cameroon was the West region, okay, and the most underdeveloped was the South region of Cameroon. Now, now you might ask this, you might ask the question, why is it that one region, okay, is considered the most developed, while the other is considered the most underdeveloped, okay, of the regions? And we have 10 regions, so you can imagine what separates them. Is it that people that come from that region are more intelligent? Is that they're more ingenious? Is it that they're more, I don't know, is it that they have much more resources, natural resources than them? That's not it at all. It is just because in the Western region, there's a system that has been created that is ensured to keep prosperity in that region. Okay, so that is a region in which we're going to take the example, where we're going to detail exactly how is it that things happen. So I hope you're still around and that you're still attentive, because we're going into something that is really, really deep, and make sure that you have a block note, okay, to take some notes. So in the Western region, you have several villages, and one thing that helps to keep that region, and like the populations in that place is the traditions, and at the top of the tradition you have the chiefs. Let me just take what at the top we have the chief, and there are important aspects, okay, that are found in chiefs in the north, in the west region, that you don't find in the south region, and I'm going to explain why they are different. The first reason is that the chief, okay, the chief is highly respected in those regions. The chief is highly respected. This is a very, very important aspect. The chief is even more than the president of the republic. And this is because of some elements. The first element is that the chief, okay, is that the chief has money. And like I told you at the beginning, we don't respect people who don't have money. So it is important that the chief has money if the chief is to have a certain kind of authority over his population. And he has to be respected. And for that, he needs money. That's why you will find that whenever a chief is enthroned, like in a lot of villages, you will notice that what happens is that people from the village, descendants from the village, they will come and give a lot of presents to the chief. I take an example. There was a chief that was enthroned some times ago, and 2 cars, brand new cars, were offered to him. Okay, and they cost exactly 160 million francs CFA. 2 brand new cars were offered to the chief for him to use however he wants, for him to move and to carry on his duties. And a lot much more was offered to him in terms of financial benefits. Okay, so it's important to understand that the chief in those regions, they don't lack money. Okay, so they are not they're not lacking. And because of that, they gain the respect, they get that financial respect, which is extremely important. The second principle, okay, is what is called the magic principle. Chiefs are recognized as beings who have been imparted a certain magical power, okay, from the ancestors through the elders. That's why you see under the chief you have the elders, okay, because it is through the elders' guidance that those magic powers are imparted into him. And the chief has to pass through a certain ritual, okay, and he passes that in a certain location of the village. Some villages call it the lakam, and in other villages there are other names, okay. So the chief to be spends time there, and during that time powers are put, are given to him, so that by the time he moves out and he's enthroned, every villager, okay, or every descendant from that place know that he has an effect on you. So it means that if he gives you a command and you do not respond to it favorably, he has the power to affect your life, whether you're within the village or you're out of it. Even if you're at the end of the world, he can still have an effect on you whatsoever. Okay, so these elements give that power to the chief, okay, for him to direct how his community or his village would go. Now, the chief, there's the importance, okay, for the community or the village to grow, okay, exponentially, because the more people we have, the more economic activities we have, the more exchanges we have. That's why the population needs to grow. And what happens is that in the traditions, you will notice that chiefs in the west region have a lot of wives. They are polygamous. You find chiefs that have up to 10 wives. Yeah, there are chiefs that have up to 10 wives. And because of that, they have a lot of descendants too. And because the people are taking example on the chief, what happens is that the members of the villages, okay, more precisely the men, will also tend to have more wives. Okay, they will tend to be polygamous, or even when they are monogamous, they will have a lot of children. That's why people that come from that region have a lot of children. You find families where there are up to 22 children, families where there are up to 10 children, 12 children, and at times from just one woman who bore up to 10 children. I come from a family where we are 8 of us to our father, okay, because I come from that region, okay, and my dad does too. My parents, I mean, they do too, okay. So I have 7 brothers. So you understand the setting in which things are done. Now what happens is that as the population increases, I have to mention that the size of the Western region compared to the other regions of the country is very small. Okay, I think, if I'm not wrong, is the least. Okay, is the smallest of all. And because of that, there's the space in which the descendants or the villagers can stay is too little. That means that people have to move out of the village and go abroad, in search of greener pastures, to find jobs, to do their business and other stuff. And because of that, they'll have to move outside, go to other cities, go to other regions, go to other countries in Africa, out of Africa, in Asia, in America. That's why you find all those descendants from that region, especially in every part of the world. Even where you think you can never find them, you will find them. Now, there's a huge question that comes up. How do we make sure, okay? how do we make sure that we keep everybody together? Very important question. How do we make sure that we keep all the descendants of this place together? How do we make sure that we keep our traditions, our cultures strong, even if we are far away from our original, from our places of origin? There comes a genius, okay? There comes the, actually what I call one of the most incredible ideas that existed, that came to exist in populations from that region, which is actually where I come from, and pardon me why I'm speaking in such a, maybe a third person or in such a way. But okay, a system was created to make sure that people stay together wherever they find themselves, and that is what is called commonly jangi. Okay, or in French, the common name for it in French is tontine. It's those who are Cameroonians and listen to the videos will surely know what I'm talking about. But probably if you're not Cameroonian, you won't understand much what it is all about. But it's actually a very powerful system that helps make things, incredible things. Actually, just give me a minute. So, talking about what is jangi. Okay, so like I told you, there's a huge question that came up. How do we make sure that we stay connected wherever we find ourselves? And that for that, jangi was created. And before going into what jangi actually is nowadays, it's important to say that jangi, it is a system that is millennial. Okay, that it has been existing for thousands of years to now. And by the time jangi was carried much more in the form of work, I explain. For example, if I have a farm, okay, and I want to cultivate maybe beans or maize or whatever it is, what happens is that I will ask my neighbors, or it can be my friends, it can be family members that are going to help me into cultivating. They're going to come together in my farm. We're going to cut down the weeds. We are going to do whatever work has to be done on the land. We're going to plant, okay, and we will do the same thing for the others. And when the time for harvest comes, we'll take a non-negligible portion of our harvest and we'll give them to thank them too for helping us, okay, and they will do the same. That's how people within the villages used to help each other. Minute? That's what happens when you talk a lot. Let me continue. What happens now is that this practice is still current, okay, and exists even thousands of years after. Because when I was little, I was around 8 years, 10 years. What happens is that on Sundays, usually my father, okay, and my mom, together with my brothers, we all went to the farm. But the things that we weren't going alone, we always went with my parents' friends and their children, and we'll go maybe in the morning. Okay, we'll go in the morning, very early in the morning, when it's still fresh, when it's still, times are really, really nice, and we'll work for a lot of hours. Okay, work in the farm, planting and doing everything, and at the end of the work, we'll have a meal together. And after that, that's actually where I learned how to plant some kind of crops, because many people eat food today, they don't know how it comes about. Many people don't even know how the beans that they eat today come, which form it comes in. So I learned. So it's really valuable for me, and something that I will never forget in my life. That definitely helps me. And what happens is that when it's time for harvest, we take a portion and we give to those relatives of ours. And you see how such a powerful, okay, such a powerful system has been existing up to now for thousands of years now. It's something that has been existing for thousands of years. Now, because of evolution, okay, and how things evolve, money came in. Because I told you we're living now in a capitalist society, and there's the use of money now. So jangi is now used. The medium that is used, okay, to carry on the jangi and the system is money. What happens is that there are two objectives to the jangi now. The first objective is to keep that culture, is to keep that sense of the tradition, and the second, okay, and the second objective of the system is to help each person, okay, or each member of the community to grow economically. This is where it becomes very, very interesting. Because I will take an example. I come from China, okay, and China is one of the villages or one of the communities in the West region. So I'm going to use that to give an example of what I'm meaning. If descendants of China moved out, okay, they moved out of the village and they went to different parts of the country and different parts of the world, how do we make sure that we keep them together and keep that tradition and keep the community, keep the culture strong? What happens is that we're going to implement jangi in the different locations where they find themselves. For example, if you have descendants, okay, from Chan in, for example, Yaoundé, which is the political capital, okay, of Cameroon, we'll make sure that we have a jangi of descendants, okay, of Chan descendants in Yaoundé. The same thing will apply to descendants of Chan in Douala. The same thing will apply to those who are in France, in the US, in the UK, in Canada, and all the stuff. And when we create that, okay, during those meetings, because the jangi is essentially a meeting, okay, where every member, okay, of the community who are part of it come together and put in put in money. Okay, I'll take it. I'll just take money. Okay, they put in money at certain intervals. Okay, to help members of the community of the group. Okay, to grow economically. I take an example. For example, if we're 11 of us, okay, we're descendants from China, and we tell ourselves that we have to carry on a jangi. We're going to do that all over a period of 11 months because we are 11 of us. What happens is that we're going to determine an amount, okay, that we're going to contribute. For example, it can be $100 each month that everybody is going to contribute. We're going to contribute in January $1,000, okay, because we have 10 people that contribute, and we're going to give that $1,000 to person A, who is going to use it to take care of his economic activities. The same thing will happen for person B in February, person C in March, okay? And we do it at these intervals. And in those meetings, we're going to have a representative of the chief in that city. That means that in every city or every location in the world, you have a representative of the chief, so that we can always report back to the chief and keep that connection with the origins. Okay, I hope you're still keeping up. If you're keeping up, let's continue. Okay, it's going to get a little bit more complex. Now, what happens is that there's something that's pretty interesting when you go in the Western region. You will notice that there are a lot, okay, there are a lot of microfinances in the Western region. Actually, these microfinances are created by and they are sheltered, okay, by the chiefs, because the chiefs aren't only the chiefs of the village, they are also administrative authorities, and they've got some kind of power, so they are able to sustain that. So a microfinance is being created for that village or that special community. And what happens is that in that microfinance, different accounts are created. Okay, And those accounts depend on the locations of the descendants. I take an example. If you have descendants of Chan in Yaoundé, they will have an account in that special, only in that microfinance. And that will apply for the descendants who are in Douala, those who are in Bafoussam, those who are in Nigeria, those who are in Cote d'Ivoire or Ivory Coast, pardon, those who are in Senegal, those who are in Kenya, those who are in South Africa. Okay, we'll make sure that we have it. Each of them have that account. And this helps in making things very simple, because before people used to bring like cash, okay, to the meetings to pay for, and that cash was given to a member of the meeting who was supposed to get the money for that month. And what happens is that once some of them moved out of the meeting after the meeting is done, they can easily be hijacked, okay? And it has been discovered that those situations were because of a member of the meeting, okay, that would tell some thieves to catch this person at this place at this time, take his money, okay, and they will share it. So what happens is that the microfinance was created to make sure that there's no such risks, because one really funny story that happens is that when I was little, back in Cameroon, we used to live in a house. By the time I was around 10 to 12, thieves came into the house. Okay, thieves broke into the house, but they didn't wake any person up. Okay, and even my mom, who is very sensitive, who's extremely sensitive to noise, even when she's sleeping, didn't hear anything. So they entered, they stole the television, they went in their room, they went to the place where my father put the money, okay, because he was in a meeting too, okay, he was in such an association, and they took the money, okay, the money that he received at that time with any other things that were valuable. And as a little bonus, they went in the kitchen, yeah, and they ate all the food that was in the pots. So my brothers and I woke up in the morning and we were trying to eat, and the pot was clean. So not only did they steal the whole thing, they took time and they ate before they left. And to stop this kind of situations from happening, okay, a system, okay, or a traceable, okay, system had to be put into place, you know, and that's why the microfinances are extremely useful, because what happens is that instead of going with cash to the meeting, what happens is that you go to the microfinance, okay, you pay to your account, to the account that depends, that is supposed to be that of your association in your location, okay, and you get a check, and it is with that check that you go to the meeting. And the person who is supposed to benefit from the collection of that month goes to the microfinance to get the money from the account in form of a check and do whatever he has to do with it. And thanks to this system, okay, every descendant, okay, of a locality or a community can still stay together. They can still have the same link together because they are all in one structure, which is the microfinance. And you find some microfinances where it is only one little room. Okay, you just find a lady that's working there, but at the end of the year, when you hear about the reports, okay, about the capital of that microfinance, you hear very funny capitals, like 15 billion francs. If we're talking about something like more than $10 million, okay, $10 million, and I'm just taking an approximation. That is how rich those microfinances can be. And at the end of year, what happens is that we take a portion, okay? So that capital actually is the amount of money that has been generated by members of that community all over the world. and a percentage of that amount is taken to realize projects within the village, okay, within the locality. That's why that's how schools are built. That's how hospitals are built, okay, and that's how roads are built. They are not. That is not what the government does. It is not the government that does it. That's why you also find some villages which are much more developed in some kind of infrastructures compared to major cities, especially in Cameroon. That is because a system has been created, and everything is done to make sure that the money stays within the community. So you see how just a little region is capable of developing itself economically just because they have a simple system. That is what economic communitarianism is all about. And I've made it very simple because there are more complex layers that come into how it works, okay? But because I want you to understand how economic communitarianism works, that's why I'm giving you height functions. Now it's important to understand that this practice is not something that is only limited to the Western region, okay? To the Western region of Cameroon. Actually, the most powerful communities use this system. They use economic communitarianism. I'll take an example. The Jewish community, which is known as, if not the most powerful community in the world economically today, they use economic communitarianism. And I want to illustrate this to you through a story. Okay, that's actually a true life situation that happened to a very huge entrepreneur here in Cameroon. His name is Thierry Niamen, who is the founder of Tanti, a very well-known company here in Cameroon. He says that he told his story to another entrepreneur. Okay, so I'm just taking the opportunity to give it to you so that you better understand. He said he once traveled to a country, okay, and he was hosted, and he stayed in a Jewish house, okay, in a Jew's house. So it was time for the meal, and the Jew gave him an amount of money. The Jew gave him an amount of money that he should go and buy bread, okay, at a precise location. So he told him, I'm giving you this money, okay, you go and buy bread at this bakery, at this precise bakery, and you come, let us have our meal. What happens is that he moves out, and he realizes that after he asked, for some direction, he realizes that the bakery he was asked to go to is very far from the house. It's pretty far, but not but pretty close. There's a bakery that's available. Okay, so he goes to that bakery and he tells himself, okay, to make it more efficient, to make sure that they can get the maximum, and for convenience reasons, he goes to this bakery that is nearer, and he buys hot bread. Yeah, he buys hot bread. He comes back. The Jew sees that bread and asks him, "Where did you get this bread?" That's the question that the Jew asks. He tells the Jew, "Oh, okay, I discovered that the bakery that you asked me to go to is too far from here, and because we were supposed to have a meal, and we were to get like really hot bread is better for the thing, I thought it was much more efficient to buy bread from the bakery that is pretty near." The Jew tells him that is something that is shocking. The Jew tells him to throw that bread in the trash can. Yeah. He tells him to throw that bread in the trash can. The guy is shocked. He doesn't understand why. He tells him, just throw that bread in the trash can. We are not eating of that bread in this house. Now he takes the bread and he says, okay, we're not going to waste this bread like this now. I mean, money has been spent for it. At least I'm going to give it to the dog. Right? I'm going to give it to the dog because there was a dog in the house. And the Jew tells him that even my dog will not eat of that bread. throw it in the trash can. He was shocked again for the second time. He throws the bread. The Jew now gives him money again. For the second time, he tells him, go to that bakery I told you about and buy bread there. Come with it. That is exactly what he does. He buys the bread, he comes, and they have a meal. And at the end of the meal, the Jew shows him a symbol on the bread. And it was a Jewish symbol that helped to recognize that the bread is actually coming from a member of the community. Do you see how powerful? Do you see how powerful economic communitarianism is? It's extremely powerful. That's how Jews make sure that they keep money within the community. And he's extremely rigorous with things, with as little things as just bread. If there was another person who would be like, it's just bread, okay. Thank you for buying bread. And by the way, the bread is hot, so it's good. But see, even if it's bread, we're not buying any other bread. We're not eating anything that is not Jewish. I go even deeper. The Chinese. China did something that is that is marvelous, that's magnificent. They created a bank with a capital of $1,000 billion that is dedicated exclusively in investing in foreign companies. Yeah. Exclusively in foreign companies. That means that if a Chinese wants to buy, for example, let me not say names, okay, you know the names or the brands of the cars. Okay, they will make sure that they invest in that company so that the money doesn't move out of the community. The money will always come back to the community in forms of dividends or in any other forms. And a bank has been created only for that. That is why these communities can keep on growing more and more and more. And for this, I want to use a statistic. I want to share a statistic with you, which is really, really shocking, which shocked me when I saw it when I discovered it for the first time. So there was a study, that was made, some research that was made, and it was discovered that for a dollar to move out of an Asian community, okay, might be Chinese, might be all the other communities that make up the Asian community. It takes 28 days for at least $1 to move out of the community. In the Jewish community, it takes 19 days for $1, okay, to move out of it. And in the white community, it takes around 17 days. But before I tell you how much it is for the Black community, be it in the Black American community or the African community, can you just guess, just for a minute, just for a time for me to take this? Okay, if you can guess, just write a comment before going forward. Just put a little comment of how much time you think it takes. Okay, if you've done that, let me give you the answer. It takes 6 hours. It takes 6 hours for money to move out of the Black community. That's how much time it takes. It takes only 6 hours. It's shocking, right? It's really shocking. We're not even talking about days. We're not even talking about 24 hours. We're not even talking about half a day, that is 12 hours. 6 hours. That's the estimate that is given for money to move out. And that's why I always find it so funny. I always find it so funny when people buy things from other places. You see somebody that buys a Gucci belt, the person is so happy about the Gucci belt. You even tuck in his dress to make sure that he shows everybody that I have a Gucci belt. Or I bought, for example, a Versace shoe. I bought maybe this brand, okay, this brand or this brand or this brand or this brand. And people are so happy of money moving out of their pockets. It's very shocking. It's very funny how people are so happy that money just moved out of their pockets. Yeah, without it never coming back. Because I mean, if the money moves out and it comes back, that's okay. But if the money moves out to have a lot of difficulties even coming back, that is a huge problem. And that's why there's the statistic that was given actually is much more of a result that the Black American community in the US has a purchasing power and that was in 2019, has a purchasing power of 1.4 trillion of dollars. So they have a purchasing power. So people possess that kind of money, okay, in all the things that we put together, all the spendings, you know, the economic power, you know, the economic purchasing power, I mean, okay, that is, and it amounts to 1.4 trillions. We're not talking of billions, we're talking about trillions of dollars. But yet, it is not the most powerful community yet, because we spend our time giving the money out. And it applies to even how we manage our money, because that's how it affects. Because many people think that being rich is all about getting much more money, and that's why I'm bringing about this this figure, because people do get a lot of money, but the thing is that money doesn't stay within, and that's what it means to be rich, to at least financially rich. Let me not use the word rich. Let me use the word financially prosperous. Okay, it's much about keeping the money as much as possible, and this is because these communities, okay, are practicing economic communitarianism, that they are able, okay, to keep the money, to keep the blood, okay, that is what I explained at the beginning, the blood within the system and preventing it from moving out. And that's what we need to do. And that's why it cannot be tolerated that the system that is happening in the West region and that people are so proud of stays in there. It is intolerable. We cannot tolerate such a thing. This is a system that is supposed to be replicated in other regions of the country, in every African country, and in the whole of the continent itself, because it is only true that we will be able to develop ourselves. And thank God, not everybody is ignorant. And there's actually an entrepreneur that has understood the importance of economic communitarianism, and he came up and he decided that he was going to create a space or a group where Africans, because we cannot just limit it to little communities, okay, to little communities doing things by themselves, okay? We need to be together. Africans need to be together. And it's because he understood that he created a space or a group where we can have Africans that come together to realize ambitious projects through a jangi, okay? And this person is named Dr. Claudel Numbisi, okay, who developed what is called today the Claudel Numbisi Business Group, which is a group actually where Africans come together, you know, to contribute to the economic development of Africa. And it has as many objectives, first of all, to seize opportunities, business opportunities, because in the group we have people that come from different parts of the continent, who have different backgrounds, who have different expertise, who are captains of industries, entrepreneurs, who are workers, who are professionals, who are even students, who are people like you and me that come together to put the resources together to achieve, okay, ambitious projects. And I want to put an emphasis on the word ambitious. So the first thing is to seize opportunities, because like I told you, we have people that do a number of activities who are entrepreneurs, and there's the possibility for collaborations, because it is a group of credible people, okay, that put in resources. Another objective of this group is to share experience. And like I said, and I'm reiterating it again, we have people from different walks of lives, okay? So they come and share experience. So it is not a group where you're going to come and ask for finance, or you're going to ask to be trained on maybe how to sell or no. People that access this group already have a certain background, and they're only coming, okay, to have experience from other people, real life experience. If you have, for example, a marketing agency, you're an entrepreneur that has a marketing agency. In the group, you're also going to find other people that have marketing agencies that are maybe further into it than you are, and you can have valuable experience, valuable information, valuable tips that have been shared with you. Equally, like I told you, we realize ambitious projects, and at the end, and which is actually the most important objective of all, we carry out what is called structural jangi. Because yes, it was intentional that I omitted that, but there are different forms of jangi. Okay, there are different forms of jangi, and the most optimal way, and the one that helps to carry on massive projects, is actually what is called the structural jangi, which is what I'm going to explain to you a little bit more. The structural jangi, pardon, let me have some water. I hope you are still with me and that you're taking notes, okay, and that you're understanding what we're talking about. If you aren't, leave some of your questions later, and you will be responded to. So I continue. The structural jangi, amongst other, is a jangi that has some specificities. Okay, I see some characteristics. Okay, so in the structural jangi, one of the most important characteristics is that we have a project that we have to achieve. I take an example. If we are together in a group, okay, and we're carrying out a structural jangi, the objective that we might have is that, for example, we want to build a house for every member of the group, okay, and we decide over the amount of time that it would take for this project to be realized. It might be 2 years. So what will happen is that once we determine that we want to build houses, we want that by in 2 years, we want every member of the group to have his or her own house. What will happen is that we will come up with a database, which is the second most important characteristic of a structural jangi. We'll have a database. In this database, we're going to have information about members of the group of the jangi. That's, we're going to have your names. We're going to have your date of births. We're going to have your days of birth. We're going to have your information in terms of communication information. We're going to have information about your activities. What do you do? Okay, are you a student? Are you a business? Are you a businessman? Are you a worker? What is it that you do? Okay, what is your activity? What is your experience in other sectors maybe? This database is extremely important because it will help us to know exactly from whom we can get which type of services. As let's stay in the example of the house, of building a house. For example, if you say you want to build houses, when we will have a database, we'll know exactly, we'll know that maybe we have a member of the group that has a retail shop, okay, that has a retail shop which offers, okay, where you can get construction materials, okay. You will know that we have a member of the group that has a company where we can get land to build our projects, hectares of land. We'll know that this member of us has this kind of experience that can be used to realize our projects. This database is important because, remember, the essence of economic communitarianism is to keep the blood, is to keep the most important element within the community, which is money. We want to keep the money within us. That's why we're going to do everything possible for money not to move out of our community. That is why a database exists. And in the structural jangi, a database is created. Okay, it can be a register, like it can be a book where we have this information, but it can also be an Excel sheet. Okay, when you have all this information, and even more important, this database is made available and accessible by every member of the community. This is important because every person of the jangi should know what each and every other member do or does, okay, in the community. That is, if I have a business, okay, and maybe you are a lawyer and the other is a doctor, I have to know that you are a lawyer. I have to know that you are a doctor, and you need to know that I am a businessman, and you also need to know that he is a lawyer. This makes it in such a way that whenever we have a need, the first people that we think about are members of our community. That's how you build a strong community. Once we determine what every member of the community does, we're going to determine what are the phases, what is the budget that we need, and at what are the type of phases, okay, that we'll have to go through to make sure that by the end of these 2 years, everybody built his own houses. So this is, in summary, how a structural jangi is. And such a jangi is actually what is going to be carried out in the Claudel Numbisi business group. And every member that is part of this jangi will be able to invest his or her money to realize this kind of projects. Just that for the time being, these are not, I just took an example of their house. That's just an example. But other projects are going to take place, and it is a great coincidence because just yesterday we had our first meeting of the year, and we discussed about the projects that we're going to carry out on the next 12 months, because there will be different projects each year. And for the first year of the existence of for the first jangi, for the first structural jangi of the group of the Claudel BC business group that is going to exist, there are already 2 projects that are going to take place. And this is confidential information that I'm giving. I'm not going to tell you what the projects are, but I can tell you that these projects are not less than $2 million. That is what I can tell you. This is the information that this is the maximum information that I am authorized to put out. Okay, that's why I told you that we're looking forward to achieve ambitious projects, because if we're talking about contributing to the economic development of Africa, we cannot do that with projects of $100,000. We cannot do that with projects of $500,000. It is impossible. Okay, we have to put in all what is needed in terms of resources to make sure that is available, and that is the information that I can share with you. But it is projects of that caliber that we're going to that we'll be able to implement in the structural jangi. And I know that this kind of high profile figures might seem so big for some people, but I want to share an interesting statistic with you. Presently, since the creation of the Claudel Numbisi Business Group, which was in November 2021, today we're in January 2022, we are already up to 500 members that are part of this group. And as you might have understood by now, this is the golden opportunity that I'm offering to you and that I've been talking about at the beginning. We are more than 500 and precisely 78. We are at 578 members, active members of the Claudel Numbisi Business Group. And there are already 300, okay, 300 plus members who are already part of the structural jangi. Now, some people might have some questions about if there aren't other projects that people can invest in, okay, that are very affordable too. I have to say that equally, apart from the jangi, there are also what I call mini projects in which you can invest, okay, and have up to 40% return on capital within 6 months, okay, of projects. And these are projects that are announced, okay, at certain intervals in the group, and in which you can invest your money and get return on capital, whether you're a student, whether you're a worker, or whether you're a business or you're a businessman. And it's very easy. Now, having said all of this, it's important to say that members, okay, who are part of the Claudel Numbisi Business Group are members who are reliable, are members who are trustworthy, and are members who are serious, that come to do serious stuffs, okay? So it is not a group where people come to waste their life, waste their time, and tell stories, okay, and do things and do unproductive things. And it's important also to limit the access, okay, to people who are not serious, who do not buy the same ideology from entering into the group, okay? And what we're looking forward to do is something that is highly impactful, okay, and where we need Africans, okay, from wherever they find themselves, be it in Africa or out, because according to the demographic that has made available to us, we have practically 54% of the members that are presently in Africa. We have interesting amounts that are in Europe, that are in the US, you know, in America, be it North or South, okay, and in Asia equally, and who are all Africans that come together to realize this. And like I told you, a barrier has to be put, because not everybody can access, not everybody should access, in order to make sure that we have the right people that embark on this journey. And it is something, it is a journey that is pretty new, but things are going very, very fast, because the jangi actually will be starting in a few weeks from now. So in order to access this business group, this Claudel business group, there are barriers, okay, but which are, according to me, negligible, okay, if you have the desire to join in an exciting journey, and a life-changing journey together. And there are actually three possibilities for you to join the Claudel, the Claudel NUMBC Business Group. The first subscription, okay, possibility for you to join the Claudel NUMBC Business Group is 3 months, okay. That is you can have access to the Claudel NUMBC Business Group on a period of 3 months. That would cost you only 75 euros. That is if you're out of Cameroon, and 10,000 francs CFA, Cameroonian francs CFA. And just give me a minute so that I can convert it into dollars, because I understand that some people might find it easier to find it. So $75, we're talking about 75 euros. We're talking about a little bit more than equal to $85 actually. That is $85. That gives you the right to entry into the Claudel NUMBC Business Group for an amount of 3 months. Okay, that means that you will have to renew after every 3 months. You can have access to it on a subscription option of 6 months. That will cost you 150 euros and 60,000 francs CFA Cameroon, if you're in Cameroon. And you have 12 months subscription, which automatically gives you access to the structural jangi, because it's important to understand. It's important to understand that the structural jangi is a huge project. Okay, it is actually a huge project, and it is important, okay, that for you to access it, you have a certain level, okay, in terms of your finances, and this is over the only possibility, okay, for you to be eligible to join the structural jangi, where we're going to carry out the projects on a period of 12 months, is to get this subscription option. Okay, so you have to pay 300 euros, and that is 120,000 francs CFA if you're in Cameroon. That is by getting this subscription option, you're automatically eligible to join the structural jangi. And I have to precise that the structural jangi is not an obligation. You're not forced, okay, to do it. You decide if you want to do it or not, or if you have the capabilities of doing it. So I have to and I want to equally precise that as you get the subscription of 3 months, 6 months, and 12 months, you have access, or you have the possibility to invest in the mini projects that are announced at different intervals within the group, and that aren't available to others that are out of the group. Okay, so you can invest in and whatever your status is, no matter what your social or your economic status is, you can easily invest in these projects and have up to 40% returns on capital. That is, if you invest something like $1,000, you can expect to have up to a minimum of 1,300 to up to even 1,500% of return on capital. That is on 6 months, and those are many projects that are announced. So this is what I wanted to share with you. So you might ask yourself, how can I make sure that I join this group? And I really encourage you. And this group was, like I told you at the beginning, it was created because of the importance of Africans to understand that it is time for us to work together. Okay, if you want to realize powerful things, if we want to realize impactful things, and really help the and really help in the economic development of the whole continent, it is important for us to work together. And the Clodal Numbisi Business Group is definitely the place where we're going to find this kind of individuals that want to achieve things together. So if you want to have access to the Clodal Numbisi Business Group, you can contact through WhatsApp directly, and as quick as possible, you will be responded to. You can also write to this email, contact@critical-2.com, and information will be given to you. You'll be accompanied and how you can make that happen. The process is very simple and very fast. Or you can just fill this form through the link that is made available right here on the screen. And after this being said, I thereby conclude on what I want to share with you today. So if there are any questions, I am open to them. And I thank you. Equally, I think we're good. So I thank you. If there are any other questions, say some questions in the chats. So for the time being, I will thank you for listening to me this far, and it was actually very important for me to have this with you today, and I hope you've been able to understand a lot of things, especially as far as economic communitarianism is important. And it is really time for us to understand how pertinent it is and how powerful it is in helping the continent to grow at large and making things happen. So I'll thank you for listening to this far, and I will give you, I will let you answer whatever, ask whatever question you have in the chats, and that will be responded to you in the comments. For the time being, I greet you, and I invite you equally to subscribe yourselves to our Facebook page, Critical 2, okay, and also to the YouTube channel Critical 2, where you have much more of this kind of content, where we share, on how you can go about a big number of things which are important, be it in terms of your finances, in terms of your finances, and developing yourself much more in your financial literacy, much more also on important things that are related to entrepreneurship. Because like I always said, and most of you might get used to it, I always say that entrepreneurship, I believe right now, is what's needed to have really the continent grow, and I inscribe myself in that ideology, and that's why I'm dedicated to make sure that I can have a maximum through my experience, and share whatever knowledge I have on this. So if you've gained something interesting into it, I really invite you to check out those pages. That is the Facebook page Critical 2 and the YouTube channel Critical 2, and get subscribed. Thank you once more, and I see you on the next webinar. Bye-bye.